Hey, yeah, what's up? This disciple Marcello Kearns reign back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day, anti-telepathy all day, anti-Satan all day, anti-game stalker all day, anti-witch all day, anti-warlock all day. So this video is going to be about basically bestiality, and it's a subject that is taboo, but it's a subject that's necessary to talk about. So. Uh, it's all in American culture. First thing I want to say is the first projection that I seen as a teenager of I think I was a teenager or younger of bestiality was uh, Cruel Intentions. The original version. See, they tried to clean it up. What you have to do is go look at the original version. This is keywords, key information. You got to go look up the original version of Cruel Intentions, because maybe someone complained about it because it was bestiality in it. But that movie with Reese Witherspoon and was it had bestiality in it. So in the original version of Cruel Intentions, I know y'all remember that movie. Everybody remember that. They grew up on that. They remember the scene where the girl who they was who they had a bet with. It was two siblings, and they were stepbrother and stepsister. So those two siblings in the movie were had a bet with with these girls, but it was a brunette girl who was basically a virgin, the real dinky one. I know y'all remember that, the one that got turned out, right? She was in the girl's room. The stepsister, the ones that was doing all the betting, the real cruel girl, she was laying in her bed. The cruel girl was laying in her bed with a little white dog. She said, "Watch this." And so she lifted up her legs and let the dog lick her vagina, and she threw the dog down. So everybody remembers that scene. Now, when I looked up the movie, they had a new version of it where that scene is out. They easily can do that. They easily can take out, especially when they remaster a movie, which that's probably what it is. It's probably the remastered movie version, and that's going around now. And that version has that scene out, which obviously is because it was bestiality. But everybody who's seen Cruel Intentions remember that part more than anything. And that was the main part. I mean, it was because you, as a kid, you really didn't understand all the betting and what they were really doing. So the main part that really stuck out was the sex scenes and the bestiality scene where the dog was licking the girl's vagina. Okay, and so if you try real hard, you can really find bestiality all in American culture. But bestiality is very common in but the thing is with it, it's a secret uh how I put it. I don't want to say fetish, but it's a secret sex activity. It's a secret sexual activity. So I had to address it because people will uh they'll try to act like it's something that has never happened before. And then they'll go around acting like, as grown people, for some of you, that you do it and you don't even do it, and you need to show them, okay, that's what you're talking about, then we're going to show you what it really is in your community that you live in, right? We're going to show you really what it is. So also down in Mexico, they have donkey shows. Now, you might not, you may say, well, you you may look at a different animal in this bestiality genre, and you may say, well, this one is worse than this. You may say, you know, you might have I ain't say have a preference, but you may say this is worse than that, and this is worse than this. And I kind of feel the same way. A donkey is worse than a dog because a dog can be conveniently around a child to where, or an adult, where they will sexually experiment. Like it's conveniently there. So it's not that you went out your way, really. It's that you were experimenting. You see the difference? It's not that you went out your way. You had to go to a barn down a hill and play with that dog. Dogs are more are in people's sexuality history more because the dogs are conveniently there. It's not that they have a preference for it. It's not that they even wanted to really interact with a dog. It's because the dog is conveniently there for sexual experimentations. So it's not a preference. It's more of a sexual experimenting situation. So it's more of an experiment than a preference when it comes to particularly dogs in American culture, in people's history. It was more of a sexual experiment, not a preference. But if you listen to the gang stalkers and you listen to other people, they will paint it like as if that was a preference of yours. Yeah, I'm tackling the big stuff. I'm having the real conversations. And they will make you feel like, oh, that's a preference of yours. You're a disgusting person. That's because you have a preference for bestiality. And in fact, most of you people that have had experiments with particularly dogs, it was because the dog was in your atmosphere and it was a convenient experiment. It wasn't because you was, oh, I just can't resist those dogs. It's laughable, right? Like I can't resist those dogs. Just how they growl turns me on. And don't let them stand up like a good little canine and bark like a little masculine canine. He got his chest out. He just turns me on. He's so masculine. You can't even take that really seriously, man. That's why I say a lot of it was like sexual experimenting, and people would try to demonize people. And I'm just one of those people that can tackle all the stuff that they talking about. That's just my lane. I can talk about it all, and I'm going to be talking about it all because these Americans want to open up the doors of sexual conversation and sexual experimenting and sexual, they want to talk about sexual stuff and demonize people and they want to go by what they've heard from others, and then they want to paint you as if you're that now, or they really don't even know what happened. Obviously not, because they wasn't there. And so what they'll do is they'll go with what they've heard, and here's the next step. Whether what part of it is true or not, they will try to make you that person now. And not only that, they will act like that's not in their community. They will act like no one has that history. And I'm showing them that they do. I'm showing them right in a movie that was that had I would say, almost a borderline cult following, Cruel Intentions. In that American movie, the girl that was the brunette that was I forget her name. I should have came prepared with her name, but she was the main girl, the mean girl, the cruel girl in it. Everybody knows who she was. The one that was snorting cocaine and just the real mean one, doing all the beating and the betting, right? She let a dog lick out her vagina on the movie. So the writer of this movie had to, let's talk about the writer of Cruel Intentions. He had to feel that this was normal because he has a teenage girl. Well, she is at least she's projected as a college kid, but that makes it even more normal to me. If you have an older kid doing it, and they're 18, from 18 to 20 or something, early 20s. But in this movie, the girl let the dog lick out her vagina. So he wrote this in there. The writer had to write that in there. So we have to realize that for him to put that in the movie, for him to write that, for him to even have the thoughts of that, shows you how normal it is in American culture. Because see, what people will do, if they make up some rumor on you or something, they will act like you're some dirty, nasty person, which I can show them. I can show them how it is very common in their own community, right here in America. And I've heard real stories, I've heard real stories. Like, for perfect example, my ex-wife told me when she was a kid that, she just lift up her dress and let the dog eat her out. Now, I didn't grow up with this woman. We didn't grow up in no house together. She lived in a whole different state from me. I didn't know her as a kid. I didn't know her as a person. I didn't know her family. This person was a state away from me, complete stranger. And she reveals to me while we were married that when she was young, she lifted up her dress and let the dog eat her out. Okay, so this is how normal it is. Okay, when I was living in the gay lifestyle, I had a guy that I knew that I was dating, and his name was David Cable, and he normalized it. His dog that he had around, he had interactions with the dog sexually. And he didn't seem ashamed of it or bothered by it or anything. So, I'm just showing you how normal it is. I've had people tell me their experiences, and I'm showing you how normal it is in your community right here in America. And if many of you are 100, whether it was when you was a child or when you was an adult, you had some slight experiences with bestiality. And it's not something you might carry around on your sleeve. It might not be something to the forefront of your mind. You might not be walking around checking dogs out like people want to act like, but it's something that you kind of experimented with, and the thing is you can't let people demonize that when it's all this history that's going on. Now, like I said, back to Mexico, down in Mexico, you have the donkey shows, right? Which is not a dog. This is now a step up in bestiality. This is a donkey Can you imagine the odors from the semen? I'm just saying. And these women, the Mexican women, do not hide this. They do not have shame about this. It's not, like I told you earlier, some secret sexual activity. In their case, they do it openly in a bar. I can't make this up. I can't make this up. They do it in a bar where men are drinking and watching. These women engage in sexual activity with a donkey. Now, this is out of your way. This is not convenience. This is not, oh, well, you know, I just kind of am doing something secret when no one knows about this. This is going out of her way. And not only that, she's allowing other people to be connected to the spiritual act. I mean, the sexual act, right? And I don't know, you know, I didn't look for details, and I might check into it and see what all is done. But you can imagine all is done. And for women that were on barns, even men that were at barns, that lived on farms, they messed around with horses. I know they did. I know they did. Because the curiosity was there. The curiosity, especially with a female, is there with the endowed penis of the horse. There is some women are going to be females. It would be naturally normal, perfectly normal for a young woman to kind of have these fluctuating thoughts. I'm not saying it's right, but have these fluctuating thoughts while living on a farm of an endowed penis of a horse, right? Now, obviously, if she's not trained with the horses, she can't just play around a horse because it could kill her. It could kick her and kill her, right? But if she's trained with the horses, especially the women, the older women, if they're trained with the horses, I know that they've done something. Okay? And same thing with the pigs on the farm. And I know that some men have had sex with the pigs. I'm pretty sure these men that's been on farms have sexually experimented with the pigs. It's things that you don't want to talk about, but I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about the whole thing. I'm pretty sure. And the sheep, also. The sheep, yes. Human beings will experiment. From what I've heard in my own life, human beings will experiment sexually as much as they can, as long as they don't get caught. They will sexually experiment, human beings. I'm not talking about robots and these people who think they're perfect. They're actually subhuman to me. It's ironic because they think they're perfect, but they're subhuman to me. Okay? Human beings will, if they are not Christians and not guarded properly, they will experiment sexually long as they can get away with it. That's the whole thing about it. And if it wasn't an issue, that's why I like the Bible, then it wouldn't be talked about in the Bible. The Bible talks about bestiality and that men should not do it, right? Okay, so the Bible addresses it. The Bible does not. That's why, God's true people can talk about anything, because the Bible addresses it. If the Word of God addresses it, why shouldn't you address it? Because either way, if the Bible addresses it, it's telling you that it's going on. Either way it goes, it's going on. But you just don't want to be 100. You rather be fake in your world, looking down on others. And I guarantee you, especially with girls, especially with females, they have experimented with bestiality just for the sake of being eaten out, right? The dog licking the vagina. It's many girls have done it. I know they have. In fact, when I was in high school, I heard this girl tell me she put tuna. This was in high school. I remember this. She put tuna on her vagina and let the dog eat her out. She put tuna on her vagina and let the dog eat her out. And she didn't, I don't know how we got into this conversation. I do not know. I don't know. But I definitely remember this girl in one of my classes telling me that she put tuna. That's how I know it happened. I can remember all the details. She put tuna and it stuck with me. Like she put tuna on her vagina and let the dog eat her out. And I mean, and the most strongest evidence that humanity does this, because I don't care what culture, as long as I can show you humanity does this, then it's humans that do it. And that's all I need to show you. I mean, down in Mexico, they like I said, they have those donkey shows. You can look up, you can go Google donkey shows, and you will see a Wikipedia page that talks about donkey sex shows down in Mexico. So I'm saying this for a lot of people that will try to have this ongoing thing against you, the gang stalkers and just people, just all kind of stuff, and they're acting like this is some alien-like thing that they've never seen and heard about, and it's foolishness. I can show you all in your own culture with movies. I can even show you I've showed you a movie, and there's plenty other movies. I mean, even if you look at Booty Call with Jamie Foxx and Tommy Davidson and Vivica A. Fox. If you look in the movie, when they were playing cards, playing spades, the dog started licking the toes of who was it? Jamie Foxx and then Tommy Davidson. Okay, so that's almost borderline bestiality right there. It's almost borderline because it's showing an interaction with a dog, right? It's almost borderline there. But in actuality, you know, it was projected as a stimulation that was actually coming from a dog. So that's the technicalities of it. Boom. So that's from Black culture right there. Somebody thought, oh, I put a dog in and licking toes and they're getting turned on. Because that's what was shown in the Booty Call movie. That the dog was licking the toes and Jamie Foxx and Tommy Davidson was getting turned on from it. Right? Oh, and the dog started licking Jamie Foxx's butt through his pants. He started eating them out through his pants when he was bending over. So that's not borderline bestiality. It is, because in actuality, it's projecting stimulation from a dog to a human. That's the bottom line. So I'm just making this video, man, so that people will know like how common this is, you know. And then for people that watch porn, let's be 100 about that too. When porn first hit the internet, you know how many men just looked at bestiality out of out of curiosity, it doesn't mean you had a fetish for it. You might have didn't have a fetish for it, but you telling me you ain't never check it out. You ain't never see women posing with horse penis or posing with particularly like barn animals, like horses. That was big when the internet first came out, and men seen a lot of it. Men seen a lot of it. And see, I understand humanity. Many of you want to play like you don't want to, like you want to, you want to be fake. And I'm being 100. When the internet first came out, men searched everything. Men, it was a sexual experimentation all in itself, because men were experimenting with different visuals of sexuality. So I am sure, because they actually have bestiality porn. It's on the internet. It's easy to find. It's accessible. Beautiful women doing it. And I remember in what was that? The late 90s, the early 2000s, when you could be watching regular porn and they would have a bestiality act within regular porn. Within regular porn, they would have, it wasn't a genre of bestiality. You was watching regular porn and you seen an act of bestiality. I remember that. And so, with all that being said, it's with the porn and down in Mexico and the movies, Cruel Intention and Booty Call, which projected, and you could say it's humorous or whatever you want to say, but at the end of the day, it's a projection of an animal interacting with an adult sexually. Okay, and Cruel Intentions is the best one. Everybody remember that movie when she had that little white little lap dog, and she lifted up her legs and she let the dog eat her out for like a couple seconds, and then she threw it down. She threw the dog down off the bed. And the girl was standing there watching her do it. She said, watch this. Lifted up her legs and let the dog eat her out. So see, it's way more normal than you want to admit. See, and I know this personally because my ex-wife, she told me that she let a dog eat her out. She let it happen. She said the dog was sniffing around her. She lifted up her dress and she let the dog eat her out. So that's what I've seen. That's what I've heard in my life. So I don't let people feed this weirdness to me, because what you'll notice is with the gang stalkers, they'll try you in any way, all ways sexually. So they might have barking dogs around to you, and they're insinuating bestiality. This is how sharp I am. That's what they're insinuating. The gang stalkers. If you have any gang stalkers around you that's playing games, that's what they're insinuating. When you hear all these barking dogs or dogs in your path, and it just seems weird, and you're like picking your spiritual intuition is picking up on it. That's what they're insinuating, right? And it's way it's they're doing it all in this community. I know they are. All types of couples do all types of, even couples do it. And I know it is happening. Another example of what I heard concerning bestiality is when I was 22 years old, I was down in Tampa, Florida, and I was just talking to this guy, right? I don't know how we even started talking about sex. I don't know how we started talking about it. But he was telling me how freaky some people are, and he was telling me about how some women, I had never heard of this. Some women putting gerbils in their vaginas and letting gerbils run around in their vaginas. And me being 22 years old, I couldn't believe this. It was shocking to me. I was like, gerbils? like he was like, yeah, man. Women put gerbils in their vaginas and just let it run around all in their vaginas. Now, me being older now, what I'm thinking is, what if the gerbil freaks out and start eating at the walls of the vagina? Like trying to get away. What if it start eating at the walls thinking that it's going to get away that way? How do you know it's not going to do that? That's my thing. What if it just start eating at the walls, man? What do you do then? So see, I'm just not going to let people play in society, man. Little goofy people, little elf-like people that, we heard we did this and Like I can show you everything that you talk about. What you want to talk about? What you want to talk about? I can show you everything. You can't be talking about pedophilia. You got 43 states of child marriage. You can't be talking about that. You can't be talking about that. And you got the age of consent under 18 in 40 states. Even right here in New York City, men can have sex with 17-year-old girls. So you can't be talking about that. You can't be talking about that. Your last child marriage law was passed under the Trump administration. You can't be talking about that. Well, look, whether he passed the law or not, it was passed while he was in the White House. While the Trump administration was in the White House, the child marriage law was passed. That's all I need to say. He ain't say nothing about it, did he? That's what I'm saying. So see, it's people that sit back with this self-righteous attitude, right? That will sit back and act like they've done nothing and that their community does nothing. And they would try to project this foolishness to you. And I can show you right here in America. I don't have to venture out to another country and show you exotic taboo sex acts like some journalists do. I don't have to do that. I can show you right here in America, in the mainland, how your country practices every type of sexuality you can imagine. Okay? But you have the pious crew, we call them the pious crew. It's not the Christians. The Christians, bestiality is talked about in the Bible. Homosexuality is addressed in the Bible. So it's not us that have this goody two-shoes perspective. It's the gang stalkers. That's what it is. Well, hey, you're projecting something that's obviously going on in your community, so I don't know where the joke is. I don't know where the shame is. Where is the shame? Where's the shame? Because your country is doing it all. So why should anyone feel shameful? It's not going to happen. Not for an educated man like me. I know that you're doing it all. And I can prove that you're doing it all. Not only do I know, I can prove it. What can you prove? How much of a jerk you are? How much of an idiot you are? That's all you can prove, buddy. I can prove that everything that you're talking about is going on in America. In fact, you have the world record for the lowest age of consent in the whole world. You have the world record. The world record is yours, America. It's yours. 7 years old, America was having sex with 7-year-old girls as fully grown men. They have the world record. And they want to have a conversation about bestiality. Or what else? The pedophilia. They want to have a conversation about that. And you having sex with 7-year-old girls. You got the world record. There's nowhere else. Now, see, people get confused when I say that. Because what you will do is you will look up the lowest age of consent, and that addresses presently who has the lowest age of consent. That addresses presently who has it. I am telling you, they have the world record I don't care who has it presently. I don't care who has the lowest age of consent presently. You can't Jedi mind trick me. I know the difference. See, an idiot say, well, right here, they have the lowest age of consent. I'm not talking about the lowest age of consent presently right now. I'm talking about the world record that no one has surpassed. America has that. And not Mexico, not Canada, not North America, America, the United States of America. You have the world record that no one has surpassed by government. Now, I don't know what people have done outside of government, but it's not comparable to what men have done inside of government. You can't compare the two. What men do in the woods somewhere, who can, that's not comparable to what people sit down and sign into paperwork and sign into law. No one has signed into law a lower age of consent than America. That's what I'm trying to show you. You don't want to have this conversation, bro. You don't want to have this conversation. And I can show you the facts of it and everything. See, this is what happens when idiots come into your community. Big head, retarded enemies come into your community. This is what happens. Now everything is being exposed because it has to happen. They listen. We're not gonna let big head idiots come around Tonka head truck enemies run around with a head like a Tonka truck, running around playing games, bro. For real. Like I'm gonna show you everything, bro. I'm gonna show you everything. That's how I'm operating. I'm showing you everything. And it's undeniable. You can't, you cannot deny it. Okay? And so, I don't know what you think is on me. I'm not saying it's on me, but what will be on me that's not on your community? What? That's what I'm saying. That's my main point. It's nothing you're doing. It's nothing you can demonize people with that has not already been done in your community. And keep in mind, you have the world record, bro. Keep that in mind. While you out here painting people as sexual deviants, your country, the Americans, have the lowest age of consent worldwide above anybody in all modern day record keeping history. Yeah, you should have knew sexually charged America. All these movies, all these sex movies from the 80s, the 90s, Cinemax, Showtime. For older 80 babies, you remember Cinemax and Showtime? Man, they don't want to have this conversation, bro. So you think everything was done squeaky clean? All that sexual stuff that was projected, everything was done squeaky clean. Well, that makes you an idiot, don't it? That makes you an idiot. All this Showtime and Cinemax and HBO sexuality projected to us as children. Yeah, it was projected to us as children, right? And then you wonder why your community is so sexually charged and so sexually deviant. Well, it's no mystery to me. You've been exposing us to sexual images. I ain't talking about no other country. I'm talking about here. You've been exposing us to sexual images from the time we were children through HBO and Cinemax and Showtime. Like we don't remember that. And then you run around and you walk around here like you're sexually pious and sexually pure. You can't be serious. Who you think you're fooling? That's why you don't defecate on the people who know you best. You don't defecate on no American. I know you better than anybody. All these American images of sexuality you've had all throughout the decades. Showtime, Cinemax, and all of that. You don't defecate on people who know all that on you. You don't try to project yourself as holier than thou to a person who knows everything about you. Your collective history is always going to be worse than any individual history. When it comes to sexuality, your collective history is always worse. You got 43 states of child marriage. That don't compare to anybody here. That don't compare to anybody. 43 states of child marriage in America? Look, that don't compare to any individual. I don't care what they done. I don't care how they did it. It doesn't compare because you rely on these American government officials to lead the way to what we should be doing and not doing. Instead, they're joining on into pedophilia by having 43 states of child marriage and passing the last child marriage law 3 years ago. You can't be serious. And you should have knew these little dummies that's in your community, these little suburban white, I got to be specific. These little white little yuppie dummies, these little white little college, you know the type, the little college, little fraternity, little dummies. They had no idea what they were doing because this country is so sexually charged. It's a whole sexual history, a sexual deviant history on this whole country, bro. You little idiots. Now you look stupid. And now you're going to lose. Because when God looks at it, he's going to judge everything you're doing. If you want to have this conversation, that's why it says, judge not lest you what? Be judged first. You don't judge, listen, you don't sit up and put judgment and on people and try to prosecute people. And then here you are with what you got going on. Now you're going to be prosecuted first. Boom. And that's what's happening to you. That's exactly what's happening to you. And you might not want no smoke, but it's too late for that. It's too late for that. You, of course, it's convenient for you to not want smoke when I got all this information on you. It's very convenient. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to act like you don't want no smoke after we got all this information on you. When you have no information on us, it's convenient. You can't go tit for tat with me. How? When? Where? What you got on me? That's substantial. That makes sense. Listen, bro, the only thing that makes sense is I'm the messenger and you can't stand it, can you? That's the only thing that makes sense. I'm the messenger, buddy. And whether you like it or not, and you can be a retarded person about it, or you can be 100 and realize, listen, you can't show down with no man of my caliber. You can't show down with no man of my caliber, buddy. None of you can. None of you can. Okay? I showed you how your whole culture and community don't even know about child marriage in your country. None of them know about it. So how can they sit up and now be judge of sexuality? Any of them. I don't care, black people, white people, I don't care who it is. How can you be sexual judge committee on sexuality when you got 43 states of child marriage and your country virtually knows nothing about it? You can't, man, come on, man. Listen, man, it ain't happening, bro. I don't see you, okay? What I see is 43 states of child marriage. That's what I see. And that's in the way of you being a judge. Okay? Thank you. That's in the way of you being a judge over me, buddy. Yeah, fix that child marriage before you try to go out here acting like you trying to find out if somebody's a sexual deviant or not. Won't you go fix what's in front of you and all around you first? Won't you go fix the age of consent in New York at 17 years old? Won't you go fix that first? Oh, you ain't gonna do it? Okay, then you can't see me, bro. You can listen. You can go play with these other people and make them self-conscious about things. I'm too educated for you to make me self-conscious about anything. And you can send any images you want. You can send all the witchcraft, mind control, all kind of sexual images to the mind. It ain't gonna. I don't care. You got 43 states of child marriage. Which, like, Lord, what that's supposed to mean? What that's supposed to mean to me? When you're sending it in the first place, what does it mean to me? Oh, yeah, it's people that know you're doing it. They know I'm not crazy. It's people that know you're doing it, right? That's who I'm talking to. Everybody else will catch up later when they realize what's going on, when they go through the same thing. Until then, we who are the spiritual elite, we know what you're doing. I'm spiritual elite, bro. Listen, you ain't making me feel crazy. I know I'm not. You got everything that you talk about right here in mainland America, including, guess what? The lowest age of consent worldwide. That's what you got going on. You can't be serious. And like I said, as far as bestiality, I've heard real stories And nothing was wrong with the people based on that. You know, they wasn't sexual deviants based on that, and they had the real history. So I'm showing you your community. That's what this is what this is all about. Because you'll try to project things on other people like they're some pigs in dirt, like and where they live is like some dirt field cesspool of deviance. You feel me? That's the picture they try to paint. Like where you live at is some sexual dirty place of sexual deviance. When I can show you anything they talk about. I can show you anything they talk about. You name it, I can show it to you. And that's all. That's the point of this video. I can show you anything they talking about. So don't let them make you self-conscious. Don't make them let you feel like, you feel me, like it's something that either whatever they're trying to paint about you and they trying to demonize you as if like no one else is doing this stuff or have a history of it, or even if it's never happened and they're trying to play games with you, right? Or insinuate it. Listen, man, I can show you where they really did it. I can show you people in your community, in the higher levels or the lower levels or everyday level. I can show you anything they talking about. I can show you where they're doing it. We gonna shut that down, bro. And then what else you got left? Nothing but judgment, right? Nothing but judgment from God and COVID-19, huh? Because look, we can go beyond information and just go to war and we win it. We don't have to talk about anything else. We don't have to talk about what people are doing or anything else. And we can just go to spiritual war and we're going to win. See, you have to use demonizing people because you know what? When it comes to spiritual war, you just can't win, can you? Where we just don't care what happened and we just say, let's just go to war. You can't win in that situation, can you? That's a 7th hour. You can't win when we just say we don't care and let's just go to war, can you? Yeah, how about that part? Well, we don't care what you think. Well, we don't care what you know, and we just want to go to war. What about that? Where there is no more yapping. There's just straight warfare. What about that part? You can't win, can you? That shows what kind of people they are. Well, won't they just go to war then? And stop all the yapping. Because they can't do that. That's part of their so-called war. And it ain't working because I'm showing you everything that they're doing. I'm showing you everything that they're doing. Yeah, we can stop talking and go to war. It ain't no talking. No one cares what has been done. Nobody cares about America. Nobody cares about what you've done and I've done and whatever happened. And we just go to war. And we will win that war. That's what I'm saying. Stop all the yapping and we'll win. That's what we saying. Forget all of that. See, that's the difference between men and boys. You want to keep talking and yapping and stuff. Let's stop all the yapping and just go to war. Okay? Let's just do that. And that's what we're doing anyway. Because that's the maturity level spiritually as far as warfare that I'm on anyway. I ain't doing it. Listen, God is showing you what is what. We beating you on your terms, but we bringing spiritual war. And that's the foundation. But we got to show you too, it wouldn't be right if we didn't show you that you're doing everything that you're sitting up here projecting on others. It wouldn't be right if that information was not released. It needs to be released so you can look stupid. You need to look stupid when you want to bring up sexuality in one of the most sexually charged countries in the world. If not the most sexually charged country in the world. Yeah, that's a conversation Americans shouldn't even be having. That's why most of them ain't having it. You know why? You know why they ain't having the conversation? Because they sexual history too messed up. They sexual history too messed up to be having some conversation. All the stuff they done is too messed up for them to be trying to have some conversation about what somebody else done. See, the reason why I'm revealing this stuff is because it's karma. It's your karma. It's the reaping and sowing process for the Americans that sit up and thought they could play with me, and then so the very man that you played with is a prophet, and he's going to, you know what? God has a great sense of humor. He used me to show you all the stuff you was doing and you are doing. So that's why, for people that may not know, that's why I am speaking about this. Because I'm the very man that they try to paint as some type of sexual deviant. And so God used me to show them, hey, look what you're doing. You got 43 states of child marriage. You can't be serious. See, that's real justice. That's real justice. The very man that you played with in your community, I don't care who did it, who didn't do it, it's you Americans. And that's all I need to know. I'm not differentiating, you're differentiating. I'm not. Well, if most of you giving me some type of problem, why would I differentiate? Okay, so all I know is it's Americans. That's all I need to know. And so how fitting that the person that the Americans played with, trying to paint me as some kind of weirdo, he's the very person not 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. The rest of these people haven't talked about it like I have. I'm the very person, the only person. I don't care if they talked about child marriage. They didn't talk about it collectively in 43 states. Now, did they? They didn't, did they? Okay, so that's not even comparable to what I'm doing. That's not even comparable. And it's not even more impactful, being that these people painted me as some type of sexual deviant. They didn't paint these other people as sexual deviants. They painted me as that. And then this guy is the one that reveals it to everybody? How ironic. How ironic. So listen, no one can compare to what I'm doing based on all of that. Okay, no, ain't nobody out here doing it, because they ain't got the same situation where these people try to paint you as some sexual deviant. Imagine that. And they got all this going on. They got all this, and this is one of the most sexually charged, if not the most sexually charged country in the world, I might add. Can't be serious. You knew I was going to find something on you. All this booty shaking and all of this stuff going on around here. Been going on for decades. All these strip clubs and all this crazy stuff going on. All this Cinemax and HBO and Showtime, all these videos and stuff. Unattended children all together in all these rooms in America. All these unattended children over the decades. What you think unattended children gonna do? It's a no-brainer. They're going to sexually experiment. That's what they're gonna do. And that's all in America because you thought you was being cool and you left half of these kids unattended. And if you ask anybody with all types of child sexual history, they would tell you they were left alone with other children. And so what you gonna say in that case? You can't blame the child. You can't blame the child. You can't blame them because that's what children are going to do. They're going to experiment in life, period. And sexuality is no exception as far as children experimenting and embarking in a new path of life. It's no different. It's no exception as far as children experimenting and embarking on new places in life. It's common sense. So what your parents need to realize is you need to stop leaving your children unattended with other children. That's the main problem. And I'm going to do a video about that. Because half of this sexual stuff that you talking about, that you crying about, I guarantee you was children left unattended. I would say 60% of it, even 70% of it was unattended children experimenting sexually. That's what it was. And you want to sit back and blame children that were left unattended. You can't be serious. And I'm not saying necessarily that it's the parents' fault, but it's because it's at the end of the day, it's the innocence of children. Ironically, it's the innocence of children innocently experimenting. That's why you can't demonize a child because they're innocently experimenting. An adult can't say they're innocently experimenting with children, right? With children now. With adults can experiment with adults. Even sometimes children that messed around can grow up and be adults and still do stuff. and still keep that going. But that's adult with adult. That's adult with adult, though. You got that going on. You got people that did that. They was experimenting as children. They grew up and had sex as adults. Listen, man, you can't make this up, and you know I'm right. But you have to get respect for people like me that anybody you could be talking about. I grew up and became normal with anybody you could be talking about in my life. Yeah, I became, and that's the true telltale signs, because there are some people that do not do that. They experiment with each other as children, and they grow up and have sex as adults. And what you gonna say in that case? When they're fully grown adults, you can't say nothing, can you? You can't say nothing. So look, man, you ain't got me on trial, man. Listen, listen. Anything you talk about is perfectly normal in your community. That's what I'm saying. And you ain't gonna demonize me and play with me. You know what I mean? You're not gonna paint different narratives of what it is. To fit your narrative of some type of sexual deviant. That's not gonna fit me. That's not gonna fit me when I got too much evidence of me being perfectly normal, being a married man, divorced with a kid, 16 years old, produced a kid, just perfectly normal, never had any problems with women. I've never had any problems with getting women. I never had that problem. All my life, I've never had a problem with getting a woman. Let's get that understood. Let's get that totally understood. I should just do a video about that. I have never had a problem with getting no woman. Never. I've never been that guy saying, well, I just wish I could find me a woman. I've never had that problem, buddy. As long as I make myself presentable to the community or the public, I would never have that problem. I wouldn't, in no circumstances will I ever have a problem with getting a woman. Let's get that totally understood. Now, if you're a little weirdo, a little weird looking guy, and women look at you and they halfway laugh, hey, I feel sorry for you. That's not me. That's not my situation. My situation is I don't have any problems at all with getting a woman. In fact, many times I could have got many women I got history, relational history, where I could have been with many women that I wasn't with, that you would esteem as beautiful and everything. That's why I act the way I do. It means more to you than it does to me. Half of you men project yourself as desperate men. You in that desperate men category. Well, I got to go get flowers. I got to throw my jacket down when the puddle was nearer. I got to throw my jacket down when she crosses the block. You got to do all this stuff, and I don't. Listen, I done been homeless, and a woman picked me up off the street in front of a Family Dollar and took me home, and we had sex. Boom. Come on, man. You ain't got no opportunities like that. You homeless, panhandling? A woman take you home as a panhandler? You can't be serious, bro. Man, I done got picked up as a panhandler and took home with a woman. See, that's the beauty. That's the beautiful men of the country. You ain't gonna be without no woman. I don't care what circumstance I'm in. And right now, I'm presently engaged. Boom. I'm presently engaged with a woman that's a little bit older than me. She's a little bit older than me. So see, man, listen, man. And I done been with all types of women. Black women, white women. I done been with a black woman, white women, different type of black women. Okay, so from all around the country. From California to New York to Florida, boom. All different types of black women, right? You've been with one type all your life. I've been with California, I've been with Florida, I've been with North Carolina and New York. I'm just clarifying my position. You feel me? Because people get retarded, bro. Like here in New York, I never, even when I came here, the woman knew I ain't have no job or nothing. She coming to the shelter and the security saying, well, we trying to protect you, Marcello. We trying to protect you. My girlfriend was coming to the shelter. Yeah, I'm that type of guy. Let's get it understood. I'm not like, I ain't never had no problem getting no woman. I have never had that problem. And I don't do all the stuff that these desperate guys do. You tricking off, spending half your paycheck on these females. That's what you doing. That's what you doing. And I never had to do that. Okay? That's the difference between me and you. I got women everywhere I want. Even when the first woman I was with was when I was jogging, working out here in New York. I had sex with the woman that was watching my routine. Hey, her friends approached me while I was working out. You feel me? That's what kind of man I am, bruh. Let's get that understood, bruh. Let's get that understood, cuz these little goofy little cartoon-like people out there, you look, man, you're in a whole different world than the world I live in, bruh. You're in a whole different world from the reality of who I am. That's what I do. That's what I do. Yeah. And I've had Mexican women attracted to me. The first Mexican woman I was with was in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles. That's the first Mexican woman I was with. And she was with it. I didn't have to do anything funny. I didn't have to like be desperate for her or anything like that. That's the first sexual contact, physical contact I had with a Mexican woman. The second time was in Phoenix, Arizona. That's the second time I had sexual contact with a Mexican woman. And she was with it with me. She approached me. So listen, man. I done been with black women, white women, Mexican women. You ain't showing me nothing I ain't done. You feel me? You ain't listen, man. I'm not new to the game, bro. I'm not new to the game. That's what you need to understand. That's why you gotta speak for yourself. Who else gonna speak for you? When goofy people around here talking all reckless and talking out of term and talking all kind of craziness. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's my history. And like I said, you know, I am presently engaged to a woman that loves me, right? We ain't perfect, but she loves me. Okay? And that's what I go with, love. Because most of the situation, most of these women, they ain't gonna accept you on your worst terms. They not gonna do it. They're not gonna accept you. For men, take notes. If you got a woman that accepts you on these bad terms that you on, if you're on bad terms, these other women you looking at that's tempting you in your face, they are not going to accept you on those bad terms. They're not. They not. They might have sex with you a couple times, but they not finna get serious, man. And you might not even have sex with them. But yet they presenting themselves to you, and you know all the stuff you got to do to have that woman. You ain't gonna have her just as you are now. No. You gotta go out here and do all this stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Catching cabs, doing this, that, and the third. Come on now. That's what I'm talking about. And then you got a woman that it ain't cause she desperate, she accepts you on your terms. And see, you need to look at that. That's what I'm looking at. She accepts me on my terms when half of these women ain't gonna do that. They ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna accept you on your terms that you on right now. They ain't trying to hear that. Most of these women, let's be 100, they gonna go with the highest bidder. That's what they gonna do. Think about it. I mean, a worldly woman, that's what she gonna do. She gonna go out here and get the guy with the most money that look good and having sex good. All of that good stuff. That's who most women gonna go with. These gorgeous women. You think a gorgeous woman just gonna say, well, I'm just go with that guy right there. I'm just going with him. Yeah, he looked at me. He turned me on. He looked at me sexually. I'm going with him. Come on, get in the cab. You think that's going to happen? She's not going to do that. She's going to go and in the places where guys have got money, wherever that's it, wherever that is at here in New York, that's what she's going with. Okay? She's going to go into an environment where guys have money. Okay? And she's going to get the highest bidder. She's going to try to be classy about it. She might try to be classy about it, but at the end of the day, she's trying to get the highest bidder. That's what it is. She might have a little bit of class with it. Just like you go to a bar, it doesn't mean you're a complete slut. You're not. You might just because you. I'm not condoning going to bars. I'm just talking about the world, right? You may go to a bar, but that don't mean you a complete whore. You know what I'm saying? You got standards, and you're trying to get the highest bidder of those standards. You're trying to get the guy with all of it together. Nobody say, yeah, I'm just looking for a guy that's broke. I'm just looking for a guy that's broke. Of course you think about certain monies and all of that situation. But you ain't like the old J-Lo where you saying, even if you was broke, my love don't cost a thing. You ain't saying that. Man, come on, these women ain't saying that. They ain't saying if you was broke, my love don't cost a thing. Even if you was broke, my love don't cost a thing. You ain't saying that. That's an anti-scrub song right there. That's a 7 hour. You know the anti-scrub song? You remember TLC made that anti-scrub song? You know what's an anti-scrub song? J-Lo's Even If You Was Broke, My Love Don't Cost a Thing. That's the anti-scrub song. That's a 7 hour. Yeah. Everybody don't have that perspective, bro. And if you find a woman who say, give me what money can buy, yeah. If she's saying that, money can buy, yeah. If she's saying that, that's what you need right there, buddy. So, that's what you go with. And if somebody's with you that is able to give you what you need, you feel me? As far as love and everything like that, they're able to give you what you need, and they accept you on your terms. You know what I'm saying? On your terms now. That's what you go with, bro. Cause all these other women, they ain't listen. You gotta have it all together. You know that. You know that, bro. Now, in my case, you might not. You might not have to. But man, in most cases, bro, you gotta have it all together, man. You know what I'm saying? And then, especially when you get used to the person. Oh, then that's when that's when you start renegotiating the relationship. Well, I think you gotta be doing this. I think you should be doing this for us to be together. Huh? And then first thing you say, oh, that ain't how it was when you met me. That's your argument. Now she renegotiating. Okay, so, just go with, man. Just go with who loves you on your terms. On your terms. Because then when you get straight, boom. She totally happy. Because she chose you. She knows that she chose you not based on your terms. And she didn't choose you for what you got. And now she's happy that the guy that she's loved has something. He has something going on. You feel me? Yeah, she should hold that in account. Yeah, she accepted you in your situation for what it was, and then and then you got more successful. You became better. Yeah, that makes somebody happy. I'll be happy too. You know, fell in love with somebody, and then you accepted them on their terms, and then they got a better situation going on. Huh? You gotta love that. So don't let these people out here talk about like all this bestiality stuff and all of this stuff. Man, they all in it, man. Like, I mean, I can show you the whole country doing stuff. History, sex history of it, everything, man. Don't let them demonize you, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm not condoning it. Like I say, I'm not condoning it. I'm not condoning it at all, right? But what I'm saying is, if you have any kind of sexual history, like bestiality or even homosexuality or being a lesbian or something, and you're a Christian now, right? You're not practicing that. Do not let people demonize you. You feel me? Don't let people demonize you like that, because that's what they're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? You know what you stand for. You know who you are. You know what's in your heart. Only you know that. Only you know what you feel. They can't feel. I don't care what technology they get. I don't care what level of spirituality they are on. They can't possibly feel what you feel for as far as sexuality. Okay, if you're pure towards children, they can't manipulate that. If you ain't out here doing no bestiality, they can't manipulate that, because that's not in you. You feel me? If you're not gay, they can't manipulate that. That's not what you want. If you're not a lesbian, they cannot manipulate it, because that's not what you truly want. You know what I mean? So that's just what you need to be equipped with, because there will be people around, and if they know, if you're a woman of God, for example, and you've had some history where you were with women at a young age, you know what I'm saying? They will try to, I'm gonna tell you what gang starts, this is a perfect example. They'll try to bring women your way. They will try to bring all different types of women your way. They'll even bring young girls your way. You know what I'm saying? All because you was a lesbian at one time. Now they're insinuating everything. They're insinuating everything because of that experience. Now they saying it. Now the gang stalker sending little girls, right? Like because you liked women, now you like girls too. Nah, that's real, bro. Nah, I'm being 100, man. I know that's what they do, man. That's what they do, man. And because you like women, you like girls too. This is how ignorant these people are, bro. That's what I'm trying to show you. I even had one guy, ex-military, told me this. And this explains a lot of this energy. Well, you know, these gay people are, this is what he told me. Oh, you know, these gay, right here in New York too. You know, these gay people, you know, they're into pedophilia. And I'm like, this is before I even had an adult experience with a guy, right? And I'm just listening to him. I didn't really let that even form my perspective on gay people at all. But this is what he chose to volunteer. This is the information he volunteered towards me. And I don't know if he was going by hearsay. I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe he was a gang stalker. But whatever the case may be, this is what he told me. Like, well, you know, gay people these days, some way he put it like that, are into pedophilia. And I can tell you that that's not true. Being gay and being and a pedophile is not one and the same. Now you got ignorant people that just ignorant rednecks. I gotta paint the picture how I got it. You feel me? That's what I seen. These Republican rednecks, right? That will sit up and try to paint gay people as also pedophiles. You know, they're the ones out here insinuating that. that if you have, yeah, I'm just equipping you. I'm just equipping you because you don't. I didn't realize it, and so if you have been gay, there's a type of American, particularly specifically, that will try to demonize you to the point that they think you're pedophiles because you'll just do if you. I think what it is they think if you do this with men, you'll do anything. If you would do this with women, you'll do anything. That's what they act like you don't have any regulations that your sex life because you're with men is just this big cesspool of wild uh, sexual experimenting of all types and forms, like this big wild jungle like type of sex cesspool or something, and you know better than that. Okay, you know better than that. I've been around enough people who do have standards, and if they didn't, I did. I did. And I didn't do anything around children. I didn't. And when I had sex, as with being with men, I had no child programming on TV while engaged in a sex act. There's sex partners right now out there that can vouch for that. They can vouch for how I am now. That's how I was when I was with men. That's exactly how I was. If we're gonna have some sex, it's not gonna be with children all on TV and all of that. That's being pure for real. You feel me? That's being pure for real. So these rednecks out here, man, and the likes of them, and I'm not saying it's all rednecks. I'm not saying it's all unsophisticated white people or trailer people or anything like that. But it is a specific type of and the type, this sheriff slash or military, ex-military redneck, Texan rednecks that just think that because you were gay that you would do anything with children and everything. And you know who's making it worse concerning this? I'm gonna tell you who's making it worse. The drag queens, not the trannies. There's a difference. Like, people don't know the difference between trannies and drag queens. Drag queens, to me, because I've seen some things firsthand, is a man that dresses up at night or to party or to for fun, and but they have not taken the step of being like a woman. Or I'm put it like this, so people don't get it twisted. They have not taken the steps of changing their organs and getting breasts and getting a vagina. They haven't done that. Okay. So that to me is a genre. That genre is a drag queen. It's not trannies or transsexuals. Look at it for what it is. It's not transsexuals. Let's get this understood, America. Let's get this understood. So, because when you know who's doing what, then you can address them properly. You don't have to hurt them. You address it properly. Because I don't see no need for drag queens to address children. Grown men are not doing this. Grown women are not doing this. It's no straight women are not doing this. They're not going to having talk time with children at all. So something's on your conscience, bro. And you know what I know it is? That it's because it's a spiritual war and a natural war against the gay community concerning children. And now you feel that like you need to show up and show who you are. Listen, I'm not playing the devil advocate, but we need to know what it is. Listen to what I just said. Listen. It's because all of this stuff that's going on, what I just told you, of the gay community being demonized as pedophiles, and now these nice drag queens feel the need to stand up and say, hey, that's not me. And how dare somebody think that's me? So what I'm going to do, because you got to understand a lot of their personalities. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be right in front of children, honey. I'm going to dance in front of you. I'm going to show you ain't nothing in my heart for no children. And that's what they doing. They trying to prove to you, no, I know I'm right, bro. Make sense of it any other way. Make sense of it any other way, bro. That's what I'm saying. It don't make sense any other way. They trying to prove to you that they don't have no pedophilia in them. That's what it is. Okay? But this is what I might note. It's the drag queens that's making it. They the ones that's making this plea for their sexuality. You know, they're the ones that's making this plea for their sexuality. It's not transsexuals. I haven't seen any men that that have changed their organs. They got breasts, they got vagina that's going and talking to children. Think about it now. That looks like a woman that's going to talk to children. I haven't seen that. So just, you have to, for America, you have to understand genres. That's why you have LGBTQ, what is IA now added to it? Okay, so you got to have understanding of all the different genres. A drag queen and a transsexual is not the same thing. That's not the same thing. That's what a T is. The LGBT, that's transsexual. And so I don't see any transsexuals going to talk to children. And drag queens do more shows. Hear this part. They do more shows than transsexuals. Now you see where we're going. So listen. The drag queens been out there at these bars. Think about it. They've been out there in these bars. They've been out there dancing at these shows, running around town, eating around town, being visible around town. And they brought on the rednecks. Think about it. They brought on the rednecks and it became a war. That's what it was. And now they specifically, drag queens that be at these bars and all of that, they felt the war and they felt the need to prove their innocence by dancing and being in front of children. That's what it is. I guarantee you that's what it is. If they're very totally honest with you, they will tell you they've been under attack. The drag queens have been under attack with psychological warfare to see if they're pedophiles. That's exactly what it is. Because you explain it any other way. How come you don't see nobody else doing it? All the other parts of the gay community, how come they ain't doing it? Because really, transsexuals are not, see, what you want to look at is it's a man trying to be a woman in front of these children. Nope, all of them ain't doing that. The transsexuals are not doing it. So they're at home just like everybody else. They're at home just like everybody else. They're not doing shows. Hear me out. They're not doing shows, dancing and being at bars. All transsexuals don't really do that. A lot of trannies do not go to bars and perform. Drag queens do. And you need to understand the difference because they're going to the bars, they're going out here, they're out here performing, and that has brought on a social attacks from the other side, from the rednecks, from the confused and dazed. Okay? They don't know no better, don't know what they talk about, ignorant. See, I'm not ignorant. I might not agree with something, but I will never practice ignorance. Like, yeah, it's just all gay people just going around dancing in front of children. That's how redneck gonna talk. And you know better than that. It's a certain genre, and it is performers who were performing anyway. And they were under attack, and they decided to show their innocence by performing and talking to children. That's what it is. And you do have to give credit for the fact that, okay, they're not doing anything to children. And they've taken the time out of their, I ain't gonna say busy schedule, out of their drag queen performing schedule, and put it like that, to take time, and there's no disrespect when I say it like that, to take time to come see to show how they interact with children. That's what it is. That's what it is. And you have to say, okay, I understand that. I understand what you're trying to do, but we don't need that. Okay, I get it. You try and show who you are as an individual because these people out here crazy playing games. I understand that. However, That's only, you got to understand when you're doing more damage than good. Okay? You got to understand when you're doing more damage than good. And you're doing more damage than good. Because now it's looking like everybody is reckless and running around, and then you're shaking butt. If you had just sat down